Hi everyone, welcome to the very first vlog. My name is Juliette, welcome back to my channel. It is crunch time, my friends. We are now in the final stretch of the year, the final 10 days of the year, and I have some goals, aka I want to finish all of my current reads before the end of the year so that I can start with a clean slate in 2025. All brand new books in 2025. So I have a few books that I need to finish, and I have one that I need to start and read. I mean, it's not like I need to read them, but I want to read them. I need to read all of these books because to some extent I'm reading all of them with different people. I need to get my little reading boots on. And to do that, I have decided that over the next 48 hours, I'm gonna be reading for 24 hours.
Honey,
does that make sense?
you've got a big storm coming.
I basically want to do a 24-hour reading challenge, but I'm gonna do it in two 12-hour increments because I definitely need to sleep. It's Christmas time and so much is going on here right now. Mainly preparing for Christmas and moving into a new house. Granted, it is right next door. It is on the same property, but it is still moving, and so I have to do a bunch of packing some things, moving some things, doing all that stuff. So I'm gonna be doing some of that over the next couple of days, not all, but some. So, you know, it's gonna be a busy time, but it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm so ready for 2024 to be over. In saying that, I have read so many good books this year, and I'm ready to wrap up the year with another 4 really good books. Because yes, 4 books is the aim over the next 24 hours worth of reading. I don't think I'm gonna be finishing all of those books. I'm shooting for the stars. But that's basically the idea. So let me give you a quick rundown of the books that I'll be reading, and I'll get more into the synopses and all of that when I actually get to them. First up, Secret Santa by Andrew Shaffer, I think. I am buddy reading this with my friend Crystal. It's a very short book. I started it today. We saw it at the bookshop together a few weeks back. And I was like, we should buddy read this for Christmas. Sorry if you can hear the neighbor's dog barking. There's nothing I can do about it. I think it means there's a snake on the property because she barks at snakes. Anyway, Secret Santa, it is a Christmas horror story. And I've just started it. I'm on page 32. Chapter 4, I started it today. It's pretty fun so far. It's actually quite humorous, so I'm keen. And that's the first one. Second book, The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. Now, I've mentioned this book multiple times. This is not news, but I do have less than half of the book left. I'm on page 445. I'm on chapter 24. I actually listened to 2 chapters today while I was driving around running errands, so this will probably be my audiobook of choice tomorrow as well. I love the audiobook for this actually. I'm really in the world, so it's really easy for me to follow. This will be my companion, my packing companion. This is actually my biggest challenge because I have a lot of pages left, like more pages in this than in my other 3 books, almost combined, pretty much. And then the other 2 books I'm reading, they're in the other house right now. One I haven't started yet. It's Follow the Rabbit-Proof Fence, and it's a non-fiction. It's a very short non-fiction about these 3 sisters who in the 1900s walked 1,600 kilometers to go back to their home. In Western Australia, they're Aboriginal girls, and they were taken from their home and put into these residential schools for Aboriginal kids to integrate into white society, and they run away and go home. I've heard so much about it. I've been meaning to read it, and it's gonna happen now. Hi, Soka. And finally, very quickly, and then I'll see you in the morning, I'm also reading The Year of the Witching which is a book by Alexis Henderson. I'm about 40% of the way through that. I'm reading that on my Kindle and it's quite good so far. So I'm gonna go sleep and read that to bed, and I will see you in the morning with an update. I mean, not an update. I'll see you in the morning with the official start of the 24-hour readathon. Good morning. I have about 5 minutes before I have to rush out of the door to my Pilates class, so I'm gonna put some bed sheets to wash really quickly and then start reading my audiobook, start listening, I guess, to the Madship on the way to Pilates. And I'm gonna start the timer. I will pause the timer when I'm not reading, so when I'm at Pilates I will pause the timer. I'd completely forgotten about that, so I think I'm probably gonna be reading until like midnight tonight. So there's that. Gonna quickly do the sheets and then get going. Hello. Time for the very first reading update. I have been listening to the Madship for the last 3 hours and roughly 15 minutes. I've been doing a bit of cleaning, eating, driving, just doing the things. But I'm really tired today for some obscure reason. I'm not too sure why, because I had a good sleep. Regardless, I am a little low on energy, so I'm gonna take myself to the beach, keep listening to this. I'm gonna walk to the beach, and then when I'm there, I'll probably pick up Secret Santa, I think. I mentioned yesterday before starting this challenge that pretty much all of my books were buddy reads, but I didn't say who I'm reading them with. So Secret Santa I'm reading with my friend Crystal. The Year of the Witching I'm reading with my friend Lucrezia. The Madship I'm pretty much reading with my boyfriend. And Follow the Rabbit Proof Fence I'm basically reading with my dad. I just found the French translation secondhand for his Christmas present. It was impossible to find because it's now out of print in French, and I just recently found it, so I got it for him, and now I want to read it so we can discuss it. December has been mostly buddy reads for me. I also read And the Mountains Echoed a few days ago, like last week I was reading And the Mountains Echoed by Kelly Rossini, and that was also technically a buddy read with my dad, or almost a buddy read. I just got it for him for Christmas as well, and so I had it on my TBR, and I was like, I have to read it before he reads it, because I just buy him so many books that I'm like, oh, I've heard this is good, and then he reads them before me, and sometimes it just doesn't work, and I was like, this time I have to read it. It's the month of the buddy reads. What can I say? I have read quite a bit of the Madship. Yesterday I listened to about 40 minutes when I was driving as well, so I don't really remember where I started today. I think I started on chapter 24 and I'm on chapter 28 now. I started on chapter 24 this morning, and yesterday I was on 22, so I've read like over 100 pages of this in the last day. That much in the last day. That's 120 pages after not picking it up for like 3 weeks. But I think that's just kind of something that I do with the longer Ship of Magic or Life Ship Trader books, to be honest, because they have their arcs and they really feel like they are multiple books in one, almost, because of all the points of view. So I took a break about right in the middle, and I think that was good because now I feel like I'm in the start of another book, if that makes sense. Still really liking it. I have 270 pages left, but in Robin Hobb terms, that is easy peasy. So that's all I've read so far. It is also 3 something p.m. So technically I'm not gonna be able to do 12 hours in one day today.
Flashback.
I'm gonna do it in 2 12-hour increments.
End of flashback.
It'll roll over into tomorrow. So I might stop early tonight and then do a longer day tomorrow, for example. I might end up doing 10 hours today and 14 tomorrow. Ideally not, but I don't know how I'm gonna stay awake until midnight, to be honest, because I'm just so sleepy. And I'm not sleepy while I'm listening to this, actually. I'm just physically tired. Like I feel like I need to rest. So reading is actually not a bad way to rest at all. Gonna go to the beach. We'll see where the rest of the day takes me in terms of cleaning and moving stuff and all the little bits and bobs that I have to do still. Let's go to the beach. As you can see now behind me, it's now nighttime. It is a little bit past 8 p.m. and I'm a little bit over 7 hours into this challenge. So halfway through my goal for the day. If you do the math, I'm obviously not gonna reach the 12 hours in one day. It's fine. I'm just gonna keep reading until I fall asleep tonight, and then whatever I get up to, then I will try to make up for it tomorrow. I do have a good few updates. I am now on chapter 31, almost done with chapter 31 of the Mad Ship, I believe. I haven't updated my bookmark. I'm roughly on page 700, so making really good progress with the Mad Ship. I'm still really loving it. This is basically one of the best fantasy audiobooks that I could listen to because I'm so invested. I know all the characters. It's easy to follow. It's really gripping as well. There's just, to me, so much to it. Like so many little hints that I want to pick up on because they will answer the bigger overarching plot. So I'm really liking it still. And then I also spent about 2 hours on the beach, and so I read quite a lot of Secret Santa. I'm well over halfway. I read over 100 pages. I was on chapter 4. I was on page 30 this morning, and then I am now on chapter 25. There are a lot of chapters for such a short book. This is a very fun book, and I think this is the perfect book for this challenge because it's very fast-paced, and I think you kind of have to read it almost in one sitting for it to be actually fun, because otherwise it is a little bit repetitive. But I'm quite enjoying it, especially for like a beach read right before Christmas. Very fun. This is not Christmassy at all, apart from it happening around Christmas, and there's a Secret Santa gift that happens to be this thing. This doll that is obviously up to creepy things. Apart from that, there aren't really any references to Christmas so far, and I'm, almost done. So not very Christmassy, not very spooky either. This is supposed to be a horror. It's more of a comedy. If you don't like really scary books and you want to read something somewhat Christmas themed, I think this is good. It's not scary. Like I said, very short, very fast-paced. In this, we follow Lucy, who has found a job at this publishing house. It's set in the 80s. She used to publish horror novels, and she was let go because her publishing house merged with another, and now she's found this new job, and her new boss has said, you have until Christmas, or you have until the end of the year, to find me a bookseller because the publishing house isn't doing very well. So you've got all those little horror novel references in there, which I don't really get because I don't really read a lot of horror, especially not 80s horror. I'm not very well versed, but it's not overpowering at all. If anything, it's just a little bit fun. And then, just creepy things happen in her building, and she's so sure she's being hazed, but of course it can't just be hazing. I don't think I'm gonna remember this book forever. I don't think I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm very likely gonna drop it off at the free little street library around the corner when I'm done with it so other people can enjoy it. But yeah, good pick for this reading vlog and a fun way to end the year. But I have to finish it before I actually confirm those thoughts. Those are the 2 books I've been reading today. I'm gonna go back to reading and I will let you know how far I get into this challenge. I need a tea to stay awake for the next couple of hours because I am not quite at the 9-hour mark and I've finished Secret Santa and I can't read for like 14 hours tomorrow. That's just not gonna happen. It's now almost 10:30 p.m. Secret Santa. It's done. It's done, and what can I say? When I spoke to you last about this book, I was really enjoying it, and even though it was a little bit repetitive and it wasn't perfect, I was willing and able to look past those flaws because it was fast-paced, it was fun, and it worked, and the main character worked as well. And then the last 60 pages happened and a lot unraveled, I think. It kind of feels like the ending was not really thought through and like it needed to be wrapped up really quickly. Like, this is 210 pages long. It's a very short book and I don't understand why it wasn't 90 pages longer. You know, make it a 300-page book and actually develop some of your side characters a little bit more, make things a little bit less convenient, and make the character make more sense, the main character Lucy, because she just completely changes at the end for no reason other than, well, we need to wrap this up now, and this is the only way that we can finish this book off on a somewhat, I don't know, interesting note. I don't really know. That's the vibe that I got, and I think it's still like a fun little bingeable read, but it's definitely not great. Like I said, I could look past the flaws for a good time, but yeah, the ending was just weak in comparison to the first 150 pages. Unfortunately, I'm not sold, but I definitely think I might check out some of his comedy books if I'm in the mood for like a short, humorous story kind of like this, except not horror. I wouldn't super recommend it, but I also wouldn't say it's absolutely terrible and don't waste your time on it. This is probably my last update of the day, so I will see you in the morning. Every single setup in this video is very precarious with this mic. It is now almost 9 p.m. the next day. I've given you no updates, but a lot has happened. First off, I have failed miserably at that 24 hours in 48 hours challenge. I am at 16 and a half hours-ish into the challenge, and it is 8 p.m. so I still want to make it to the 24-hour mark, so I'm gonna keep reading tomorrow. So although it's a little bit of a fail, I am actually quite happy with everything I've been reading, the progress I've been making with my current reads, and also I realized if I really wanted to make it happen in 48 hours, I basically would have had to have no social life. So, you know, it's fine. I don't have to read for 24 hours in 48 hours. It's just a silly little goal that I've set for myself. But really, the most important thing was really getting to finish my TBR. Not my TBR, my current reads. So, a lot has happened since this morning. I started and finished Follow the Rabbit Proof Fence by Doris Pilkington, also known as Nugigari Mara. Sorry, again, I'm not very good at pronouncing names. This was very short. It's 130 pages. I have heard a lot about the movie. If you don't know, this is the true account of three sisters from the north of Western Australia. In the 1930s, they're known as half-caste. They're half Aboriginal, half white. And they get taken by the authorities and sent to this settlement in the south of Western Australia, 1,600 kilometers away, to be put in a residential school to be taught the ways of the white people and to be educated. And they get there and they decide, no, we're not staying here, we're going home. They are between the ages of 8 and 14, and they literally just walk all the way back to their home. And this is the story, and it's more than that actually. It's also the story of the very first white settlers in Western Australia and how Western Australia was set up as we know it now. It was really instructive, really informative, and it really feels like a biography, if that makes sense, or a history of the region, a little bit of these three girls, but it's not, as you can see, it's very short, so it's kind of like a broad overview of the last 200-ish, the last 200 years. I really appreciated how much I learned from this. I really want to watch the movie now. I think it'll be a good complement. I think they complement each other quite well from the little bits and pieces that I've heard other people say about the movie. I think this is more of a historical, factual piece of literature, and the movie is more of an emotional story, if that makes sense. Although, not to say that there are no emotions in this, it's just the writing style, I think, is a little bit factual, just a little bit matter of fact. And I'm not gonna give it a rating online because this is non-fiction, and I mean, I do give ratings to non-fiction on Goodreads, but this is basically a memoir / biography, and I don't really like to do that so much with memoirs. I know I've done it earlier this year and I don't feel amazing about it. I kind of feel like, I don't know, I can have my opinions on memoirs, but I don't know that I want to put a rating on them because it's literally like putting a rating on someone's life. So I'm not gonna give this a rating, but really interesting, really informative. I highly recommend it if you want to learn about Western Australia and these three amazing girls that just walked home. They walked for 1,600 kilometers all the way home. And then I have been continuing to listen to The Mad Ship. So I'm very close to the end now and I really want to keep going. I've listened mostly to this, but I've read some of it as well. The Mad Ship is one of those books that's included on Spotify Premium. I don't know if this is everywhere, but in Australia you get 15 hours of audiobook listening for free if the book is included in the premium membership, and The Mad Ship is. So that's how I'm listening to it. I have not paid for this book twice. Still really liking it. I'm glad I took a break with it for a couple of weeks. I think that really aided in the enjoyment of the second half. And just like with the first book, the second half of this is super strong and just packs a punch. And I think I'm definitely going to finish this tomorrow. And finally, my ebook, The Year of the Witching. I haven't read any of this since starting my readathon, actually. Those are my final two. I'm on my final two books. So I've fully finished 2 books in the 16.5 hours, and I've read about 250 pages of The Mad Ship. Not 250, 200? So about 400 pages in total in 16 hours. To me, that's a lot. I'm very pleased with my progress over the last 48 hours, which is really the true win. But I do want to hit that 24-hour on my timer. Probably get to 17 and a half hours tonight, and then tomorrow it'll be whatever remains. It really puts into perspective just how much you can read in 24 hours. Good afternoon. It is the first update, not since yesterday, since the day before. So in terms of sticking to the clock, this is not a success, but in terms of reading, it's a huge success. I have news. I have finished The Matship and I gave it 5 stars. I love this book so much. The ending, I caught my reaction to the last 50-ish pages on camera. It was driving me crazy, like, not at all where I expected it to go. Couldn't have seen it coming, but at the same time, so many hints all come together when it's revealed. Like, it's not just something that's thrown at the reader to make them think, oh my gosh, I could have never seen this come. This is not written in a way where like you couldn't have picked up on any hints. I think I pick up on a lot of hints when I read these books because I'm on the lookout for them. Like I'm like, oh, I should remember this in the future. But then I can't actually put the pieces together to come up with the final plot twist. I could for the Farseer trilogy, but I can really see how much she's evolved in between those books because that ending was crazy. Crazy good. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so good. I'm so excited to read the next one, and this was the big book for this reading challenge, you know. I had like 400 pages to read and I did it. I read the last 80 pages this morning and I listened to quite a few hours and read a lot of it physically. I've read most of this book physically. I only really listened to like 3 hours on audio, I would say. I love Robin Hobb. She is my new favorite author. I want to make a bookish award video, and spoiler alert, she's definitely going to be on there. I've also been reading The Year of the Witching. I've been taking you all over this house that we're moving into. This is the bedroom and we're properly moving in now. So I've been moving some stuff and listening to the audiobook of The Year of the Witching because it is also on Spotify and I think I still have like 10 hours left this month. I forgot to update you on the timer. Even though it's been well over 48 hours, I am about 2 hours and 15 minutes away from completing my challenge. I think the takeaway here is that the 24-hour reading challenge is hard. No matter what, I'm really happy with all the reading that I've done actually. It's been so nice and I've mostly read good books, so it's been very interesting and I'm gonna keep going with The Year of the Witching. I'm about halfway through now. I'm on chapter 15. No, I was on chapter 15. I'm on chapter something else that I'm listening to. I think I might be on chapter 20 or something like that. Anyway, next time I see you will be the last time I see you for this video. And then good luck to me editing all of this. Hello, that's it. We're done. The 24 hours readathon is over. Hello. Thank you. He's very happy to see me right now. Yes. What was supposed to be 24 hours of reading in 48 hours turned into a whole week. Definitely will not be underestimating 24-hour readathons like that ever again. And I guess I did it at a time where, you know, we've been moving in and it's Christmas. Christmas is come and gone. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Today is the 26th of December, and I literally just wrapped up the end of my readathon. I just finished the 24 hours. So let's do a bit of a recap of what I read. I read Secret Santa. I wouldn't super recommend it. I wouldn't not recommend it either. If you want a bit of a different Christmas read, this could be the one. But yeah, the ending fell a bit flat. The ending was not very good in my opinion, but the premise was quite nice. Fun times, you know, easy to read. Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's all you can ask for. So that's the first book that I read in this vlog. And then I read Follow the Rabbit Prevents. I have had this on my shelf for about a year. It was gifted to me last Christmas by my grandma. Thank you, Grandma. Very informational, learned a lot. I really liked that the first few chapters is actually the history of how Western Australia got colonized, and you know, that sets you up for what happens then with these three sisters. Well, technically they're cousins, but they're sisters. I'm really keen to watch the movie now, so it might be an activity before the end of the year, who knows. Then I finished The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. This beast. I think this is the longest book I've read of the year. I'm pretty sure it is. If not, it's like the second longest. I can't really tell you anything because this is book number 5 in a 16-book series and book number 2 in the second trilogy of that series. The one thing I will say though, do not start with the Life Ship Traders. Start with the Farseer trilogy. People say online that you can start with either the Life Ship Traders trilogy or the Farseer trilogy when you first get into the Realm of the Elderlings series, and I really beg to differ. I think you really need to start with the Farseer trilogy, you know, read it in the chronological order of publication, because in my opinion this second trilogy really spoils the first trilogy, and you need to have read the first trilogy to really understand some of the little hints and nuances in the Life Ship Traders trilogy. I think if you just go into this first, you are gonna miss out on a bunch. And also I really think some of the things that are said in the second trilogy are huge spoilers for the first trilogy, or like some stuff you find out about in this one kind of ruin the end of the first trilogy in a way, if that makes sense. I think then you know too much about the world. In the Farseer trilogy, you're in the one character's head and you're discovering the world with them, and so you know, a lot of things that happen are a little bit mind-blowing because he had no idea, so you have no idea. If you read this, then you know some stuff, you just know it, and then you're like, it's not as fun, or at least for me it wouldn't be as fun. So I definitely would not recommend starting with this, but I very highly recommend trying out Robin Hobb. If you're into fantasy and you haven't read any of her stuff yet, run, don't walk. Very easily my favorite author of the year, spoiler alert. Really love her. I'm so glad I finally finished it, and I cannot wait to read the last book. The final book I'm still currently reading, but I'm 72% of the way through, is The Year of the Witching. I like it. It definitely reads quite young adult, maybe a little bit too young adult. Like I think some things now that I'm really into, like Robin Hobb, I kind of need more logic behind some of the things happening and not for things to just happen, because that makes it seem like it's happening a little bit easily and like for the sake of the plot. And it is YA, so I can't really judge it against like adult, really thick fantasy books like this. But yeah, I think it's probably a little bit short. I think the reason why some of these things happen and it's a little bit convenient is because the book had to be kept and like the 360 page mark or something like that, so you kind of have to go through the motions. You just kind of have to roll with it. Whereas with The Mad Ship, of course, it's 900 pages. So it's different. And it's not comparable. It's just to say I'm liking it, just not as much, because I like all that a little bit of realism in my fantasy now, I think. I don't know that is realism the right way to put it? I just like it to feel a bit realistic in the fantasy, but I think that's also because I'm really into my historical, factual books at the moment as well. So maybe that's coloring my enjoyment of it, but I'm quite liking it. There's nothing wrong with it, apart from the fact that it's a little bit easy sometimes. But yes, quite good. The vlog is officially over. I don't know that doing a 24-hour readathon for my very first vlog was the best idea, but I'm happy. I did it. I didn't think I was gonna do it. The reason why I was doing this was to finish all the books that I'm currently reading before 2025, to start with a nice, fresh, clean slate for 2025, and I have done that. I've read so much in the last week, and quite good books as well. This was quite fun way to wrap up the year, and in my next video I'll be doing my 2024 book awards. I've come up with some categories, and I thought that'd be a fun way to go through the books that I really liked. Keep an eye out for that. That should be coming soon. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these. Yes, Katara. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.